Now, time for a Daily Show exclusive.
Yes, we've conducted an exclusive survey and we've discovered that 3 out of 4 bank officials surveyed have been verbally or physically abused by the public. Now, adding to our panel today, we still have Pat with us and we're joined by Una Fitzsimmons. Our own researcher, Ciara Riordan, is with us too. Ciara, we're going to come to you first because we want to get a handle on what exactly we asked and what we found out in this survey. So tell us what's in there.
Yeah, essentially we surveyed over 350 bank officials from various banks and financial institutions. It was an online survey and it was carried out last Tuesday. It was confidential and a lot of the bank officials noted that they were actually fearful to fill in the survey because they thought they'd lose their job. The main areas we covered were abuse from the public, tiger kidnappings, bonuses and job losses. And the main findings of the survey, like we said, was 3 out of 4 bank officials surveyed have experienced abuse because they work for a bank. That's 75%. Now, nearly all the abuse was verbal, but 4% actually was physical, and that this took place both inside and outside the workplace.
Because one person actually reported that they were actually spat at.
That's right. Like one official wrote, I have been spat on and threatened with violence for not cashing a cheque. I've been accused of being a murderer. I could go on and on. There are so many stories I've seen or experienced. I mean, there was a lot of comments like that.
And you got lots of examples, as you say, and stories from people who described to you exactly what had happened. Now, the Irish Bank Officials Association carried out a similar survey of their members, and their results were pretty much similar to ours in that they were around the 75% mark.
Yes, 77. Larry Bodrick, he came out from the Irish Bank Officials Association saying that actually they carried out their own poll and it came out 77%, and these were 22,000 members.
Yeah. So it's very much in line with what we,
That's exactly
what we got.
We've part of Larry's statement after he saw our results here on the Daily Show, and he said the public were absolutely right to be angry at the action of senior executives in the financial institutions, but absolutely wrong to take their frustrations out on ordinary bank staff who were also victims in this crisis.
And the stress of working in this high-pressure, target-driven culture has been further intensified by the prospect of significant job losses, says Larry. Over 6,000 jobs have already gone in banking in Ireland since the crisis began, with another 4,000 jobs likely to go in the next 12 months or so. Did you see evidence of that in the responses that you were getting, that people were worried about their jobs as well?
Absolutely. I mean, there was many findings. We had people saying that they 65% actually of bank officials said that they'd lose their job, and actually 69% said that they would leave just for job security, so leave the sector completely.
Okay. Well, on the basis of our research, we decided to ask whether we've become an angrier nation since the recession hit. We took to the streets to find out.
It's made us all very, very angry because Ireland was never like this. We haven't been like this since the famine.
It has made a lot of people very angry because I suppose they feel that they're not responsible for all that's happened.
We're a little more aggressive than we were before.
I think the government has made a right mess of everything, and the people are suffering. People are paying for it.
People are more aggressive today.
I think people are really, really annoyed about what's happened.
If I asked you to give me £50 right now and you were on the labour, what are you going to tell me? To get myself stuffed, you know?
Oh, now just to bring you in here, why are customers attacking people in the front line?
Well, there's two things I'd say about it, right? One, it might not be a very popular view. I think there's a certain amount of Irishness in it, right? We go in to the desk, we dump off our frustration actually at somebody who can do nothing about our frustration. That, exactly as you described, Claire, the worker who's actually afraid of losing his or her job as well. So we dump and then we go home. You know, what have we achieved? And I don't know if that statement was from a senior bank official. It's very well for him to say that, but the problem is that people can't access the higher up. So what do you do? So I do think it's quite redundant. I think it doesn't help anybody. I think that the anger is because people are feeling absolutely helpless. So, you know, if you're on the dole or if you're trying to get a cheque cashed and you don't have... I think the reason we get angry is, say I'm trying to cash a cheque for €250 or €80 or €50 and I don't have any backup money in my bank account, and I know I need that either for bus fare or to pay a bill or to get something for the kids. It's stress. It's pure and unadulterated
because
stress.
even in the good times you couldn't cash a cheque like that. You had to lodge it into your account for the last for the last few years and wait for it to go through, and then you could take it out.
Yeah, and people are just, you know, I think it's a dumping of anger. I'm not judging the people for doing that. I think it is sort of rage. I don't know, we've got a new name for it, like desk rage or something. But bank rage or whatever.
And Elaine, do you think we're an angrier nation?
Yeah, I think we're getting more quick to anger. I think we're getting frustrated, and we kind of, where we may have kind of buried the anger before, we're now kind of a bit more bolshy about it and not prepared to take it anymore. But sadly, at times, obviously from that survey, it's kind of taken out on the wrong people, the frontline staff.
Una, just to come back to you on this, I mean, there's only so much pressure one person can take, and in light of the headline that we saw at the weekend, where a death by suicide was attributed in part by the person's family to the abuse they suffered when they worked in a bank, you can push a person too far, and it seems as though from the answers we were getting that this is what's happening in this sector.
Well, I think I wouldn't encourage it at all. I mean, I do think that the bank official at the desk has done nothing wrong, and bank officials are saying that they're embarrassed in pubs and stuff to say that what they're working at, because they're getting abuse in pubs, they're getting abuse socially. Can you imagine, if I had a bad experience with a dentist, and then I meet another dentist who has nothing to do with it, and I say, oh, you lot should be shot. Do you know what I mean? Because one of your lot, took out the wrong tooth. I mean, we can't operate like
Tarring them all with the same brush, really.
Absolutely.
And Ciara, what else did you find out in this survey?
Well, 97% felt that these bonuses should be suspended. These are bonuses to senior bank officials. Also, over half have stated that they do not feel safe in their job in light of the recent Tiger kidnappings. There's plenty of findings there.
Pat, coming to you.
Sorry, Claire.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm sorry for cutting across. The other thing I would say, this country voted in Fianna Fáil for the third time. And people did take loans that they shouldn't have taken, that they couldn't afford to take. I don't have loads of money to spare, but I didn't overborrow. Okay, so I'm lucky and I'm blessed, and I sympathise. But why are we, picking on the officials at the desk? Why are we moaning about, Brian Cowan doing whatever he did, whether he was tired, drunk, had a sore throat, had a cold? It doesn't really matter. People are not happy with his performance.
There's a personal responsibility issue.
Yes,
Pat, I want to get final word from you on this, because in terms of the banks themselves and how the organisations are behaving and how they're looking after their reputations and looking after their staff, more work obviously needs to be done given what we've seen in this survey.
A lot needs to be done. I mean, it's prime time for people in my industry as well. All these banks really need to reposition themselves and find out what they're really about. I actually look at this research because we carry out a lot of research, and the only, sector that I compared it to, one research we did years ago, was the hotel sector and the people on the reception desk, because they actually need stress rehabilitation because of the work they have. This is actually worse. I actually see this almost as a cry for help or a plea for help, because those people, right, like you said, they don't deserve this, but unfortunately they joined this institution, they work in it, and they are going to get it because they're in the firing line. And the people that cause the problem are in the back, on the back bench hiding away, then it's not right.
Okay.